Ethan Humble, a staff reporter for Simpson here, and I'm joined today with Seth Andersen of the Culver Fellows, and we're going to be talking today about the election here on Election Day. So Seth, how do you feel about this election?
Well, we couldn't get luckier than we did with the weather. This is just amazing, and there's wonderful weather, beautiful, sunny, warm weather all across Iowa and across much of the country, which is going to be fantastic for a high voter turnout.
Absolutely. And what makes this election different than any previous one?
Well, everyone says this is the most important election of our lifetime, every time one comes around.
Right.
I think in this case, we are really divided politically in this country. People's emotions and feelings are running very, very high. They have deep, deep concerns about COVID, about the economy, about climate change, about so many issues that seem so big.
What are some key swing states we should be looking out for in tonight's election?
So at the presidential level, the key swing states, Iowa is one of them. Iowa is polling very, very close, although we don't have a lot of electoral votes. So it gets less attention than Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Those are the three Rust Belt states that President Trump won in 2016 and that gave him the presidency. Without those, he would not have won. Hillary Clinton would have been in office. So those people are watching very, very closely. President Trump essentially has to hold those states, or 2 out of the 3, to be able to recreate his path to victory. The other emerging swing states, North Carolina is polling very, very closely. Florida will always be the most difficult state to predict.
Yeah.
Luckily, with Florida, they're able to count their votes much quicker than they used to. They have a very speedy system in place. Expect early results from Florida probably before midnight tonight.
Oh, wow.
Unless it's very, very close. But they will have a lot of results to report, even if they're saying we can't predict the winner yet, but they will have a lot of their vote in and counted, ready to report already, is what a lot of the experts are predicting.
Right, yeah, exactly. And you actually led into my next question well about student turnout this year in the elections. How do you think that's going to differ from previous years?
Well, we are hoping for, we have been preparing for and working towards for the last 2 years since the midterm elections to set a new record for student voter turnout at Simpson. The previous record that we set for student voting here on campus was in 2012, and that was 62%. We don't have numbers from 2008. That would have been even higher probably. That was the highest turnout election that we've seen in 40 or 50 years in this country. But we hit our high water mark of 62% back in 2012. We dipped down to 56% in 2016. And we expect it to go up significantly.
What is your prediction for this election?
I got out of the prediction game a long time ago.
Fair enough.
I think it's this one. This election is difficult to model and difficult to predict because of the massive turnout. There are some predictions that indicate we may hit 160 million votes in this election, which would be almost 35 million more, some around there, than last election. So when you are adding that number of votes to the mix and you don't know where those votes are coming from, polling gives you some sense of which groups are turning out for early voting, for mail-in voting, for all of those things. But with such a huge increase in the pool of voters that are participating, you really don't know until you start to dig into those results and actually tabulate them. Mm-hmm. You don't know the total picture. You can get a little bit of a picture. Like Biden is doing really, really well amongst seniors who are concerned about COVID. Like he's doing really well, okay? He's doing really well amongst suburban women voters in certain key states. President Trump is outperforming expectations among black male voters. He's doing very well on keeping his base. And there's some indications that some late deciding independent voters, especially in Iowa, are moving back towards the president. Right. So you have all these different things. And so it's not a cop-out, but to say it's really hard to predict what's going to happen at the national level until we start to count all those 160 million odd votes that we're going to see.
Here with Seth Andersen, I'm Ethan Humble from SCTV, and we'll send it back to the studio.